He told you that you would be First Lady, and you believed him. Did I not raise you for better? How many times have I told you you have to be what? You have to be what?
Twice.
What?
Twice as good.
Twice as good as them to get half of what they have.
Hi, my name is Rikeya and welcome back to my channel. So today we will be discussing Miss Olivia Pope. Now, despite her self-sabotaging ways, Olivia is hands down one of my favorite and most complex characters that I have seen to date. Olivia is truly one of television's most iconic characters, a crisis fixer with unmatched power, impeccable style, and a taste for red wine and gladiator heels. But beneath the designer coats and polished command is a woman who constantly tried to prove she's in control, even when she's falling apart. In this video, we're unpacking Olivia Pope, not just as a fixer, but as a person. Now, you could either love her or hate her, but one thing you cannot deny is that Olivia isn't just a character. She's an archetype, a symbol, truly a force to be reckoned with. She's the woman you call when your world is falling apart and you need someone to put it back together, quietly, discreetly, and without leaving a trace. Who doesn't love a woman like that? In the political underbelly of DC, Olivia Pope was the fixer, the woman with the answers, the secrets, and most importantly, the power. And she never lost. But this is what stuck out to me most about Olivia. If you see beyond the scandals, beyond the tailored coats, and the famous glass of red wine, Olivia is something else. A deeply wounded, deeply brilliant Black woman who has been performing perfection to survive. She's the product of elite education and covert grooming. A Black woman who carved space for herself in spaces designed to erase herself. She's ambitious to the point of self-destruction, loyal to the point of betrayal, and soft in moments she won't let anyone see. Olivia Pope is the kind of character who reminds you that being put together isn't the same as being okay. And that's what makes her unforgettable. Now, to better understand Olivia, we have to dive into her relationship with Papa Pope, okay? One thing's for sure, two things for certain. Papa Pope did not play about Olivia. He was very strict on his daughter. He borderline groomed her, but the love was there. He loved his daughter. No one could say Papa Pope did not love Olivia. It's just the way he showed it was very unique, as some would say. Papa Pope didn't raise Olivia with tenderness. It was honestly far from tenderness. She was raised with strategy. Love in their home was conditional, calculated, always laced with control. Her father taught her not just how to survive, but how to dominate. She was groomed to be exceptional, and that she was. Olivia was brilliant, a true product of what Papa Pope had created. But the question is, at what cost? And I'll tell you, it's the cost of her emotional safety. Eli constantly reminded Olivia that the world would never see her as an equal. He weaponized fear to keep her close, and in doing so, he built a daughter who could take down presidents, but couldn't let anyone truly in. Not even the one man she loved the most. For the longest time, I could not figure out Papa Pope and Olivia's relationship, because I'm like, I don't know if she hates him or if she loves him, or if it's indifferent, if sometimes she hates him and sometimes she loves him. I just really couldn't understand it. But then I'm just like, this is how they genuinely show love to one another. Don't forget, Olivia definitely pulled out a gun on her father, okay? But then again, it just goes back to the childhood, back to how she was raised. Also, her mama was a serial killer. Actually, her mama was more dangerous than her father. That's the real tea. But the above scene is a perfect demonstration of Olivia and Papa Pope's relationship. He praised her when she was exceptional, but he punished her when she showed weakness and reminded her very often that she would never be seen as equal because of the skin she lives in. Papa Pope operated from a worldview of power and control. He was both Olivia's protector and oppressor, and that's the contraindication Olivia internalized, so much so that it poured right into her love life. What she learned from her father is reflected in her relationships with men. She learned to trust no one, to hide her pain, to pull the strings while staying untouchable, but she also inherited his loneliness, his paranoia, and his inability to be truly known. And I must say, as an avid lover of the show and Olivia, that's the heartbreak of it all. Olivia wasn't raised to feel. She was raised to win. And somewhere along the way, she honestly started believing that those were the same thing. To win and to feel. And then came Fitz. Probably the most intoxicating, tragic, and addictive love story I have seen in a while. So toxic I can almost gag thinking about it, but it was love nonetheless. Olivia saw in Fitz what she never got from her father: attention, protection, and adoration. But it was never love without chaos. And when I say chaos, I mean absolute chaos. Fitz loved Olivia, but only in fragments, in stolen moments and promises that never fully delivered, ever. And despite all of her power, Olivia constantly found herself shrinking for him, waiting for him, forgiving him. And what's wild is the woman who could literally shut down Washington couldn't say no to a man who refused to choose her publicly. Her affair with Fitz mirrored her childhood wounds: inconsistency, emotional manipulation, and longing for unconditional love. And yet, she kept returning, hoping that this time it would feel safe. Let me break it down even further. If Eli Pope taught Olivia how to survive, Fitz is where we saw her try and fail to feel safe. Their relationship was epic, cinematic, and built on broken foundations. Fitz was everything Olivia wasn't allowed to want. Someone who adored her, praised her, chose her, but never fully had her. And the truth is, she never fully had him either. From the very beginning, and I mean the very beginning, Olivia and Fitz were always playing an emotional tug of war. Passion versus control, fantasy versus reality, power versus vulnerability. And at the center of it was always Olivia, a woman who could fix any crisis except the one literally happening in her own heart. Fitz made Olivia feel desired, but not truly secured, loved, but not really prioritized. He said she was the quote-unquote love of his life, yet over and over and over again, he chose image, legacy, and comfort. And every time she stayed, Olivia lost a little more herself in the dream of what could be, rather than facing what actually was. Now, I do know that eventually they do get together and they do bring out their affair and everybody finds out about it. I'm talking about before that though, okay? I'm talking about when she was in the dark, okay? When she was hidden, when she was a secret. Fitz wanted Olivia in secret, in whispers, in quote-unquote, one day we'll be together, timeliness. And Olivia, despite knowing better, clung to the illusion because it felt familiar. It mirrored the conditional love she knew from childhood. She had to wait to be fully loved. She had to prove herself worthy. Their love was laced with power imbalances, okay? Olivia was a mistress to a married man, yes, but also a Black woman constantly shrinking herself for a white man whose privilege gave him options she never had. And that dynamic is not romantic, it's re-traumatizing. And this is the thing with Fitz, and I do like Fitz. Let me just say I do like Fitz. I like Jake more. The real ones know, but Fitz is okay, all right? But for all his declarations and grand gestures, he never loved Olivia in a way that made her feel safe, ever. Jake did, not Fitz. He loved the idea of her, the woman who could solve problems, whisper truths, challenge him, but not necessarily the parts of her that were messy, vulnerable, or in need of healing. So yes, they did have chemistry, But chemistry without consistency is chaos, and that's why I say the relationship was truly chaos. And Olivia deserved more than chaos. Now, moving on to Jake. Jake is where Olivia fumbled the bag, okay? Jake always represented a reset button for Olivia, a way to feel wanted without being consumed. And for Jake, Olivia was both a mission and a muse. The thing about Jake is he wanted to be the hero, the man who saved her from herself. But Olivia just didn't see him that way. And it's funny because despite Jake's calm demeanor, he also had a bit of a possessive streak. And although he wasn't as controlling as Fitz, he was somewhat emotionally unavailable in his own way. But for some reason, Olivia just could not see it for him. The problem with Jake is that he offered her an illusion of peace, but never the intimacy of truth. And remember, the way that Jake entered Olivia's life was under the control and guidance of her father. And because Jake came into her life under the guidance of Papa Pope, Olivia just never truly felt seen by him, only managed. And after a lifetime of being groomed, trained, and used as a pawn by her father, Olivia didn't need another handler. She needed healing. So here's the question. Did Olivia Pope heal through the Gladiators, or were they just another mask? Another distraction from the deeper emotional work? I'm not gonna lie, at first glance, they do look like a family. These were the people who showed up for her, who followed her, protected her, loved her when she didn't even love herself. Hug, Quinn, Abby, they were loyal beyond logic. And for a while, that closeness did look like a connection. But when you really zoom in, you realize something. Olivia didn't let them in. Not fully. She led them. She protected them. She manipulated them when she had to. But she rarely leaned on them emotionally. Vulnerability wasn't part of the deal, only control. The Gladiators gave Olivia purpose. They gave her a mission, a cause, something bigger than herself. And in many ways, that was healing. Because, sometimes healing doesn't look like therapy. It looks like finding your people and fighting alongside them. Building trust in a world where you've been trained not to. But here's the flip side. Olivia also used them. Not maliciously, but instinctively. She can't help herself. They were the buffer between her and her pain. As long as there was a crisis to solve, she didn't have to sit in silence with her grief. As long as she was leading the charge, she didn't have to face the little girl inside who still felt unloved. So, did the Gladiators truly heal her? Yes and no. They were her armor and her soft place to land. But real healing, real work, that only started when Olivia stopped performing, when she finally let herself fall apart without trying to fix everyone else first. In conclusion, Olivia Pope was never just a fixer. She was a woman fixing the broken pieces inside herself. Her story isn't just about politics or scandal. It's about identity, legacy, and letting go. And maybe that's the biggest lesson she gives us. You can be the most powerful person in the room and still be healing from the wounds no one can see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did Olivia's journey hit close to home for you? Do you think she ever truly found peace? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, keep choosing yourself, no matter how long it takes to learn how. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Mwah.
You broke up with?
I have a lot to do tomorrow, and I haven't had much sleep, and I'm not in the mood.